Well, we're excited about you joining the MCU, and so I have to ask, how would you describe the experience of stepping into this role as the Silver Surfer for the new Fantastic Four?
Well, I can't really talk much about it, but the Fantastic Four are fantastic.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal in this film, and I'm very excited for people to see them, and they're just like also some of the kindest people I've ever worked with. So they're wonderful.
Like a fun cast to work with.
A fun cast, a really fun a great fun director. So it was a really, I felt very lucky to have a little small part.
Hello?
We were attacked by some kind of animal, and I think my husband was infected by it.
What's wrong with Daddy?
I just said I don't do scary movies, but I have to because of this job. And I'm glad, because this movie was so amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
The performances were fantastic, and I want to get to that in a little bit. But first, reuniting with Christopher. I mean, he just told me you got your first professional acting gig together was Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. What was it like to reunite with him, and how different was it this time around?
It was very different because it was like there were bigger roles.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, what I learned on Martha was just, how to be on a movie set. I didn't even I was acting for 5 months at that point.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really, I was super excited to sign on, and that he was on this production, and because I think he's a great actor. He's fantastic, and he's great in this film. And
Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, it was a really nice reunion.
What's wrong with Daddy?
He got sick.
Please, Dad, you're scaring me! Blake, stop!
There's definitely some classic chills and thrills in this. How would you say this version of Wolfman kind of ups that scare factor compared to what we've maybe seen in the past?
That it feels really real.
Right.
It feels real because even how the Wolfman looks, you can there's some elements of Chris still in there.
Totally.
And you think maybe he might change.
Right.
And then when he turns on you, it's more scary because it's familiar.
What is happening to me?
So I actually think that this is actually more scary than the previous Wolf.
And a slow evolution to that too. You see him transforming piece by piece. And you're right, because of that, by the time you see him as the full Wolfman, you still see parts of him, and it actually packs a more emotional punch. Yeah.
Yes.
It was so grounded in reality, like you mentioned. Were those kind of nuances that you got to play with in your performance there in the script, or was that something you built with Lee, your director? And
it was a combination of things. Lee very early on said that he wanted the Wolfman to be like a disease and an illness, and then with that, I started to do a lot of prep work with the stages of grief, and it takes place in one night, and so it's like the 7 stages of grief in one night. And so that was he was physically, has the transition, and I have the emotional.
Can you understand me? You're scaring me.
Was that something that excited you as an actor, to be able to sink your teeth into something?
Yeah, it was scary
I bet.
and challenging, but yeah, it was. And also, this movie feels very different for me than anything that I've done in the past.
How so?
Just that there was a lot of action. There was a lot of running. There was a lot of action.
Yeah.
And
Was it cold?
And it was a monster movie. I've never done a monster movie.
Oh man,
so.
you should do more. I was like, you were so great in this.
Daddy, is that you?
This is kind of a nerdy horror film question, but what goes into nailing that perfect movie scream? Because I'm watching you and I'm thinking, do you guys space that out so your voice doesn't get hoarse or that you lose it? How does that work?
A lot of tea.
Right, honey.
Honey, a lot of honey.
Yeah.
Honey.
Do you warm up like a vocalist?
Yeah, a bit, but I like doing that anyway because I never want my voice to sound like
Like you just woke up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
But yeah, and also it depends on what kind of scream. What the situation. It's there's different types of cries too.
Yep.
So
I'm I know that well.
way.
Right. Don't we all?
Yeah,
right,
don't
exactly.
we all?
You know what's amazing is that the holidays gave us a vampire Nosferatu. Of course, we've had the Invisible Man, and now we get the Wolfman. What is it about these classic monsters that you think stand the test of time and that there's still a real appetite for them?
I think they're just traditional stories. I think they're just stories that people like the history that people want to bring back in a way and and tell them in a different way. And I don't know. I think there's something so unpredictable about monsters, obviously, that people love to watch unpredictability on screen.
It's so true.
So they want to feel like they're on the edge of their seat.